What up, is Marcus Dynasty Football Dads, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We're giving away still a DeAndre Swift jersey, and we will still be giving it away until I hit 2K, which will be someday in the future. And I realized I didn't have my microphone plugged in last time, so my bad. Whoops. We're going to be doing tight ends and quarterbacks for draft capital. We're going to start off with tight ends, then we're going to go to quarterbacks, and then we have some analytics. This is going to be analytics week. I'm just telling you. It's analytics week to get you prepared to almost look at players without their film. Now, film is such an important, crucial part to a player, but we have to just look at it with numbers, and then we're going to look at it with video and stuff, and then we put those two together, and we get a super concrete found of like who is going to be rising to the top, who's going to be falling, and of course, some of the analytics is going to be draft capital, which we have to wait on that. Of course, this is what we're going to be talking about today, and this is what makes good dynasty and great dynasty owners from just the, hey, I'm run-of-the-mill, I'm just going to follow with, I'm going to draft the first wide receiver off the board. Hey, it's Henry Ruggs is the first drafted off the board. Okay, I'm going to take him over CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to take him over Justin Jefferson. I'm going to take him over Jalen Reagor. Or I'm going to take Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson, which I said not to do because you have to look at analytics and video combined. I think it's one of the best aspects or best ways to go about it. So let's start with tight ends. This has the most drastic change from round 1 to round 2 tight ends. This did not include last year, which we did not include Kyle Pitts or Pat Freiermuth or any of the other tight ends, Brevin Jordan or anything like that. But round 1. So round 1 tight end, and we all know about the O.J. Howards and everything like that, but you have an 8.7% chance of being a top 5 tight end. We went top 5 because when you went with running backs and wide receivers for the previous 2 videos, there's 12 is like an okay number. 12 is okay to kind of separate them by. When you need a tight end, you need a top 5 tight end, or really tight end 6 through 12 is basically a tight end 2, which is what we did the second tier through. 8.7% chance of having a top 5 tight end hit if you draft him in round 1, or if the NFL drafts him in round 1. You have a 26% chance of having a top 12 tight end, which is 1 in 4 chance if they were drafted in round 1. So you think of the O.J. Howards, even Kyle Pitts, you had a 26% chance of having a top tight end. This is the first 3 years of their career. And we all know that the first 3 years, we try to predict that breakout. And so this is even pre-tight end breakout, you could say. Tight end, round 2 is almost the most drastic. We see a lot of these tight end in round 3 actually succeed more than round 2, and we're going to talk about that. But round 2, we have a 3.23% chance of having a top 5 or top 12 tight end, just exactly the same. And round 3 seems to be the round where tight ends get drafted and succeed. I don't know why that is. If it's Travis Kelce, Jason Witten, if it's Jordan Reed, if it's plenty of other tight ends. In fact, a lot of times I will actually target round 3 tight ends closer to their year 3 of being in the NFL, because I remember, okay, hey, this is a tight end that has, if he has A, pass catching abilities, and B, he was drafted in round like that 3 range. That's where you get some of these guys that come from nowhere. Jordan Reed is, I believe, one of those cases. A lot of them are like Travis Kelce and stuff that you're not going to be able to get. But again, you try to get to that breakout. Is it going to be the next Mark Andrews? Is it going to be the next Darren Waller? But he was drafted as a wide receiver. But beside the point, you try to target some of those round 3 tight ends. And that's where I go after a lot, especially coming up into these next couple of years after they get drafted. So anyways, 4.76% chance if they're a tight end, top 5, top 12. You have a 14.29% chance, which is a ton more than round 2. And, I mean, you look at round 1, 26%, which we all know the super hyped tight ends, whether it's the O.J. Howards or the Evan Ingrams or whoever it might be. And then you have a 14.29% chance to be round 3 a successful tight end, top 12. So that is a big kind of drastic, eye-opening thing. And then round 4 and on, you're really looking at about a 2.5 to 5% chance being in round 4 and round 5, and then 0 in round 6 and round 7. So really, round 2 and round 4 and round 5 are almost identical, which is a weird concept over the last 20 years, but that's just what the trends have been. Now, things can definitely drastically change with a couple of super successful tight ends coming up. Maybe they get drafted in round 2 instead of round 1. Maybe that position gets devalued, or maybe even gets valued more with how quickly the NFL's changed. Kyle Pitts is basically a wide receiver in a tight end body. And so these are things that we have to just kind of look at. We just have to keep an eye on it, because round 2 and round 3, I think you think, round 2 tight end, that tight end is going to be so successful. But really, analytics shows that really it's kind of not. round 3 is more successful than round 2. But even if you just said, hey, round 2 and round 3, if you have a tight end in the day 2 of the draft, it's relatively the same. I think that'll give you a little bit better perspective of where the tight ends, I guess you can try to predict 2-3 years down the road where they might break out. Quarterback ones. This is the this is the position where it's nearly impossible to predict. We're going to go through pretty quickly, and that's why I combined it with a tight end video here. 25% chance, 24.5 if you want to be exact, to be a QB1. That is if you were drafted in round 1. Round 2, 0% of being a QB1 in the first 3 years. 9% in round 3, 4%, 4.55% in round 4. In the 5th round, 0%, 3.57% in 6th round, and 7th round, 0%. You can think of the back-end players, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, all these different kind of positional players. I would say if they're not a round 1 QB, simple math says don't draft them in Dynasty Fantasy Football unless they're mobile. Because really, you look at Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, what do they have what do they have compared to each other? They're both or similar to each other. They're both mobile quarterbacks. Even Jalen Hurts, which he's a mobile quarterback. You're looking at all these different quarterbacks, and you're looking for mobility. Mobility is the key. And so that's just one of the things that we have to understand is if it's not around 1 QB, then you need mobility. And if you're the Davis Mills of the world, if you're let's just say Kenny Pickett gets drafted in round 2, or I would think he would get drafted in round 2. I'm trying to think of Sam Howell, who people have been kind of raving on as of late. Let's just say he gets drafted in round 2, or any of the 2023 quarterbacks. If they get drafted in round 2, round 3, they either have to be immobile, or I'm not drafting them in Dynasty Fantasy Football, especially Superflex. I'm just not taking the analytic risk to them unless something shines that makes me go, whoa, I need that. People are missing on them. So that is just something to note and something that we do want to be able to project for the future. So I hope this helped. I hope this helped give you some analytics towards Dynasty Fantasy rookie drafts. We are going to be going through some more analytics in the next couple of days here. And then is going to be more mock draft time coming up next week and stuff. So stay tuned. We'll get that to you here soon. All right. So take care, everybody. Peace out. We'll see you again tomorrow.